Good morning, all of you. We are in Group 5. The topic we have received is the case of Huawei. These are the topics we will discuss in our presentation. Huawei Technologies is a Chinese multinational technology corporation headquartered in China. It designs, develops, and sells telecommunication equipment, consumer electronics, and various smart devices. It was the world's largest telecommunication equipment provider and was widely acknowledged to be the leader in developing fifth generation mobile network systems. During 3 decades, since the chief executive officer had found and built Huawei into an international company with annual revenue of Chinese yuan renmin 701 billion. As Huawei's dominance grew, so did concerns about the purported risk of using its equipment. Although the company was not state-owned, the United States government feared the Chinese government could use Huawei equipment for espionage or sabotage. In August 2018, the US banned its government agencies from buying Huawei network equipment and urged allies to do likewise. In response, Huawei sued the US government in March 2019, claiming the ban was unlawful. So, in this report, we were discussed following points. Huawei's origins and rapid rise, 5G technology and industry structure, US political environment, US actions toward Huawei, and finally, Huawei's next steps. Now I invite my friend to continue our presentation.
Thank you, Shesha. Let's see what are the key issues related to Huawei's origins and rapid rise. Highly depends on overseas expansion is one of the main key issue in Huawei case study. According to the Huawei company, they have focused on expanding their business around the world. Huawei built contracts with Chinese entities. Chinese National Railway and Hong Kong Hutchinson Telecom are some examples for that. By attending International Telecommunication Union in Geneva, they could expand the company outside the China and got the advantage of offering products throughout the world. Enterprise Business Group was established by Huawei, and that group worked with different parties around the world. They have developed joint ventures with different companies in the world. They have developed a joint venture with India is one of the examples for that. Then relevant theories. For this key issue, the relevant theory is overseas expansion strategy. It refers to diversifying their markets beyond the borders of the home country through gradually overseas expansion and establishing a strategy presence in those overseas regions, countries, and markets. Under the overseas expansion strategy, mainly there are three forms. They are internationalization strategy, multinationalization strategy, and globalization strategy. When considering above mentioned examples, we can say they have used globalization strategy because they have expanded their business into almost all the countries and all the regions. Samashi.
Thank you, Piyumi. When we analyze Huawei case study under Huawei's origin and rapid rise part, we have identified highly depends on overseas expansion as an key issue of Huawei company. We talked about it in previous slide. And now I am going to explain why we select it as an key issue of Huawei company. The major reason behind that is some disadvantages of overseas expansion. In here, we have mentioned some disadvantages of overseas expansion. First one is managing overseas employees. As a company, Huawei tried to expand their business throughout the world. When they established their businesses in several countries, they have to use employees from those countries. Those employees have different values, perception, attitudes, and also they have different skills as well as they are under different cultures. Because of that, working with them and managing those employees can be taken as a major issue of overseas expansion. And the second one is handling logistic become an issue. Logistic activities are more important to maintain smoothness of the operation. When the business expand throughout the world and across different geographical areas, handling logistic activities can be difficult as well as logistic activities may be more complicated. And the third point is political barriers. Different countries have their own regulations, rules, as well as different political behaviors. Those rules, regulations, those political behaviors are differ from one country to another country. Some of them are more supportive and some are non-supportive. Those non-supportive action can be negatively impact on the business activities. And because of that, those things can be identified as disadvantages of overseas expansion. Now I invite my friend Rasini to continue our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Samashi. Now let's see what are the key issues of 5G technology and industry structure. And for these issues related to theoretical analysis. Without uniform standards, networks and devices might be unable to connect to one another in different regions of the world. This issue related to product life cycle theory. Product life cycle theory is under the modern firm-based theories. Modern firm-based theories can divide three stages. United standard issues related to standardized product from these stages. Because if they want to connect to one another in different regions of the world, the United States plan to use higher bands. This issue is another issue. The higher band was lower range and weaker penetration of the signals. Lower range means that more mobile-based stations would be needed, driving up the overall cost of network, especially in the rural areas covering much of the US. Weaker penetration means that signal did not travel well in dense urban areas. This issue related to theory of mercantilism. Theory of mercantilism based on country-based, classical country-based theory. They cannot acquire people of urban areas. Now I invite my friend Chani to continue our presentation.
Thank you, Rasini. According to the issues in the fifth generation technology and industry structure, we identify that without uniform technical standards to connect the another in different regions of the world. As a solution, they came up with for this issue uniform technical standards. According to our analysis, we think that this is the best solution because before introducing uniform technical standards, they cannot connect in different regions of the world. But after introducing the uniform technical standards, they can connect with different regions in the world. According to the plan of the US used the higher band that offered greater capacity, but signal did not travel well in urban areas, as well as it will need more mobile channels, which will increase network cost, like rural areas covering most of the US. So we clear that they did not get a proper solution or a better solution for that. As our analysis in this part of this case study, we recommend that they should be used uniform standards to connect one country to another country or one region to another region. And we suggest that also low to mid band portions of the spectrum to provide greater range that will result to signal travel well. Navodya, you can continue now.
Okay, Dilmi. Next, we consider about political environment of this case. The political environment refers to place outside the company related to the government or public affair of a country influencing companies. The political factors and government activities in a foreign market that can either facilitate or hinder a business ability to conduct business activities in a foreign market. Trump has questioned China trade practices for many years and he began investigation China's trade practices soon after becoming president in 2017. China and US tariff increase and hold session of trade talk ended without agreement. Reason for this conflict is political risk. Because Donald Trump became the US president, he changed the government policy as his opinions, banned the US of Huawei equipment by the US government. Australia, New Zealand, and Japan had banned purchase of Huawei equipment for their major 5G network. According to the risk situation, two parties had to face difficulties. It is pointed out to the slide. Consider about all points we can observe relevant theoretical analysis is political risk. Political risk is the risk and investment return could suffer as a result of political changes or instability in a country. Instability affect investment returns could stem from changes in government, legislative bodies, and other foreign policy makers. We can point out opinion of political leaders, civil disorders, and external relations as reasons for political risk. According to my idea, this situation main reason is opinion of political leaders. Hansini?
Thank you, Navodya. Now I'm going to discuss about the arguments on the political environment. The US-China trade practices and its cause for the previous extent conflict. For these issues, Huawei formulated a strategy to deal with the consequences of the US ban. According to our analysis, this strategy is a proper way to deal with this ban because this strategy helps to show that Huawei is not the arm of the Chinese government. Huawei developed a corporate and global strategy for the US restrictions threatened to disrupt the technology industry's global supply chain and uniform standards. Let's discuss about the recommendations. In here, we cannot control external factors. Political risk is hard to quantify because there is a limited power when discussing an individual nation. Some political risks can be ensured against through international agencies or other government bodies. But in here, Huawei did not get any immediate action to show their innocence, which they do not engage in any espionage and sabotage. If they could show their innocence earlier, sometimes they had the ability to decrease the effect. According to this case study, after the meet of the two presidents of China and US would relax restrictions on Huawei. So if China tried to discuss and solve the problem with US sometimes, the negative impact could be reduced and easily solve the problem. However, as the ban of Huawei, they tried to develop the advanced chips after the US stopped supply chips to Huawei and develop own mobile operating system called Harmony. Those are positively affected to the Huawei because it reduced the Huawei dependence on Android ecosystem and US chip makers. According to our opinion, it is the best solution for these supply restrictions. So continue our presentation. I invite my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Hansini. According to our case study, we analyzed Huawei actors CROSSROADS reacting to the US equipment ban. In here, we have developed our report including Huawei's origin and rapid rise, 5G technologies and industry structure, US political environment, US action towards Huawei, and Huawei's next steps by analyzing the case. Under these main parts, we have identified the issues of each part. Uh, Relevant theoretical analysis which we have learned under the international business management course related with those issues. At the same time, we have discussed arguments and in suggestions or recommendations for those issues which we have identified. If we summarize, these are the things we had wanted to discuss through our analysis. Thank you.